What's up, guys? Welcome to our triple threat analysis. This is going to be our weekly Raw and Smackdown recap show. So we're just going to touch quickly on each show, talk about what happened, our thoughts on it. Let's start with SmackDown, the SmackDown right before the Rumble. So SmackDown started with a bunch of talking, a lot of talking between participants of the Rumble, Cody, Jay, Randy, Sammy, and then they got interrupted by the Vision, setting up the 8-man tag team match later in the night. We'll talk about that later. So we start with that. A lot of talking, a lot of really nothing interesting, really, in my opinion. It was just a vessel to set up the main event. Then we had Carmelo Hayes issued his open challenge, right, as he's been doing, putting on some bangers. I think this one was another banger with Rey Fenix. Really solid match. And Rey Fenix can hang with anybody in the ring, and especially with Carmelo. I thought it was another banger in a line of bangers from Carmelo. Any thoughts about Rey versus Carmelo?
I mean, I just agree with you. Like Melo's been putting on a bunch of great matches, just like Ilya did, just like Sammy did, while they've been doing these U.S. Open challenges to really, kind of commemorate John Cena and all he did with the U.S. title and stuff like that. And Rey Fenix is a guy who, maybe he wouldn't have been as good in the ring with a Ilya, but him and Carmelo in the ring was phenomenal. They both work together really well. It seems like they have similar styles, so I think they understand each other really well in the ring. It was really entertaining to watch.
Sure. Glenn, any thoughts about it?
I'm happy Melo's getting his spots. He deserves it. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad he's taking the ball and running with it.
I really want to see them kind of move Ray into a more prominent role in some way or shape or form. I think he can be pretty. I mean, he's obviously exciting in the ring, and I think eventually down the road when they do put him back with Penta, it'll be really exciting. But we'll get there. Next up, we had Charlotte and Alexa versus Roxanne and Liv. They're playing hard on the Charlotte and Alexa are still friends thing. They're trying to show that there's cracks in their friendship, and then obviously we know now that Charlotte eliminated Alexa in the Rumble, whether it was by mistake or not. This match was what it was. The match wasn't really anything to write home about. It was really just used as a way to further Charlotte and Alexa, maybe inching towards a breaking up or something like that. I mean, do y'all have any specific thoughts about this match? I thought it was a
just
boring
felt
match.
Yeah, especially for the talent that's in the ring. I mean, you think of Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez. Like, you think that's going to be a really good match, even just on the tag match on Friday Night SmackDown. And it just wasn't, like you said, it wasn't anything to write home about. It didn't live up to what you'd expect out of those four women.
Definitely.
It's agreed. I mean, it is what it is. It's a SmackDown before the Royal Rumble. You're not gonna get anything too crazy. When you have those four women in the ring, though, you expect greatness, and we didn't get that, but it's fine because it's all nonchalant anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, not much to talk about with that match. Next up, we had Ilya fighting The Miz after a backstage interaction earlier in the show. I mean, the match was definitely more than I thought it would be. When it first announced that it was happening, and I mean, The Miz can. He doesn't make anybody look good, but he can go with anybody, right? He works well with. He has chemistry with pretty much anybody, and obviously, Ilya is great. And so I think it was a pretty good match, especially for something that we didn't really, at least I didn't really care too much about. I thought it was a good match. Any comments about The Miz and Ilya?
I was honestly just mostly surprised about how strong they allowed Miz to look against a guy like Ilya in the first place, because going into it, I mean, even a match that a lot of people may not fully care about, like they would just expect, hey, with as brutal as Ilya is and the way Miz has looked lately and just kind of getting pushed around and shoved around, like Ilya's just going to come out and beat the absolute crap out of him. And that just wasn't the case. The Miz dominated for a long time during the match, and it made it a lot more entertaining, I think, than what was it expected of it.
Any thoughts, Glenn?
I love The Miz, one of my favorite actual characters of all time, but him just hanging around doing all I understand you need people to job and stuff like that, but it's like, Miz, bro, I don't think you should retire yet, but maybe take another break or something like that, because it's just not working for him right now. He's not even getting pops, he's not even getting booed, he's not getting anything. He's just kind of there at this point. So yeah, I just feel like maybe Miz take one more break and then come back for the retirement tour.
Yeah. I mean, I think Miz has done they obviously put it with Melo, and I think he's a big reason why Melo is, so over right now and as the champ. And so I think that's been his role in the company for forever now, right? And he really excels like at that. But I do agree. I think it might be time for the Miz to take some time off, especially because there's not. I don't think there's really anywhere for him right now. As far as taking a young guy under his wing. But I mean, the Miz. I love the Miz too. But if he's not gonna have his own solo run where he's actually like doing anything competitive, I think it might be time for like you said, for him to take some time off. All right. Anyways, so next up we had the main event, which was set in the beginning of the show, the tag match of Jay, Cody, Randy, and Sammy versus the Vision. I mean, it was just chaos, right? As we all surely expected it to be. But to me, it was the right kind of chaos. It was super entertaining. I don't think we really expected it to actually end in a finish. I mean, what main event on Raw or SmackDown does actually end in a finish now? But so like it was entertaining, and then obviously Drew shows up, attacks Sammy, and then Jacob comes out and attacks Cody and Sammy and Drew, and then Braun takes Sammy and Cody out as they were kind of play fighting over the title as the credits roll. It was entertaining, right? It's what it had to be leading up to the Rumble. I mean, any thoughts? I don't think it really progresses a story. I mean, obviously it does, but it progresses like Drew and Sammy and Cody and Jacob, but I don't think it really progressed more than what it already was, in my
I
opinion.
I think it was the best way, like we said, it was an eight-man tag match, and I think it was the best way to end up getting 10 of your biggest names involved to main event the show the night before one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year without exhausting any of them. Because it's a tag match, everybody's getting involved, there's different people in the ring all the time. You can go and sit out and take your breathers and then Drew and Jacob getting involved and gives you more time there and more entertainment. It was just like we said, this episode right before the Rumble, it was just kind of a go home to the Rumble, and it truly was felt like at this time where they were just kind of not mailing it in, but just making it seem like, hey, here's some of our biggest names, but it's not going to be the most memorable SmackDown you've ever seen.
Right. Yeah. It was the typical, SmackDown before a big PLE.
Yeah,
Um, any thoughts on the main event, Glenn?
It was just rehearsal for the crowd to sing songs, sing Randy Orton's
yeah,
song, sing, do the yeeting, do the. That's all it was. Get Sammy, see
Yeah.
if Sami Zayn would get a pop. Which, by the way, he got a bigger pop on SmackDown than he did in the damn Royal Rumble.
that's
But
true.
but it's what it is.
Yeah, like I said, the whole show kind of is what it was. I feel like SmackDown's definitely been on a heater. Recently, the last couple of months, I think it's been more entertaining than Raw the last couple of months. This one, it is what it is, right? All right, moving on to Raw. Raw started with Braun crashing out, obviously about the Masked Man, going crazy, uh, having to get
That's why I
escorted
did
out of
what
the
I
building.
did. Okay, we had to get Braun Breaker in Braun Breaker mode. That's why I did what I did. Now you know why.
Right,
You're welcome, world.
right. You had to bring the dog out, right?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
I mean, obviously, Braun has the right to be pissed. I mean, and the crazy Braun Breaker is the best Braun Breaker. I mean, what do y'all think about Braun in this moment and how everything's going for him?
I think they're almost painting the picture now with him of like he's noticing how much the Vision is losing, and we'll talk about it later on, but it happened again later in this episode of Raw, and maybe with a little more reason behind it this time, but week in and week out, like the Vision themselves are just constantly losing matches. They're constantly losing opportunities, and they're really trying to paint the picture now where even Braun is starting to notice like, hey, maybe I was just better off on my own. I was getting title opportunities when I was on my own. I was just fine when I was doing things myself. So, a lot of people are pointing fingers at Logan Paul and Austin Theory and stuff like that, but Braun Breaker might, at the end of the day, might just be the guy that ends up destroying everybody and running off on his own to do his own thing.
For sure. I mean, I know you love Braun, Glenn. Where do you think he's at right now?
Exactly where he needs to be. Everything that's progressed with him is exactly the way you would want to do it. I could not write anything better for him right now. He looks insane. By the way, did you see when he put his arms on his head? His damn this dude is insane, man. What a
Yeah,
monster this guy is. And when he finally destroys CM Punk for that belt, because it's gonna happen, it's gonna be the greatest day. Now I don't know if maybe he doesn't even get that, depending on the WrestleMania story. If Roman beats him, which he probably will. So Roman versus Braun would be insane. I mean, so many storylines for Braun now. Like this is gonna be if Logan Paul is pretending to be me, then is insane. Like, there's so much craziness that's gonna happen. I'm excited for Braun Breaker's future. It's the sky is beyond the limit for him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we knew he was we know we've known for a while now that he's the future, probably him and Oba are probably the future faces of the company. And it's even more obvious now. Next up, we had Javon Evans fighting El Grande Americano. It's kind of because their last match got ended because of Javon being injured, so they're running it back. Yeah, I mean, this match was good.
Watch it.
It really showcased Javon, and Javon won the match. I think it was a good match. Definitely, I'm going to be excited to see Javon get into a real storyline soon and really progress how we see and get to know him. Like I said, I'm really excited for Javon. We talked about it in the Rumble recap. Javon has a good big future, just like every other young star. What do y'all think about Javon? You like him? What do you think about El Grande Americano?
I mean, we can't go without saying the original El Grande Americano showing up again, making a
I
little
didn't want to
interruption.
mention that imposter.
Again, it's not an imposter. You got to learn the lucha libre legendary things here. But no, obviously Javon is Javon. Like at the end of the day, he's probably the most entertaining of any of these young stars that we're talking about because he's doing the most flippy, crazy tricks and things that a lot of people
Yeah,
haven't
boy
seen
is
before.
bouncy.
And exactly. And so it's not your typical just big guy like Oba just coming and destroying everybody. Like he's got to do it in different ways, and he's making it so entertaining to watch week in and week out.
Yeah, definitely. Glenn, thoughts on Javon or El Grande?
Braun Breaker, Javon Evans, Oba. I mean, Javon Evans shows week in and week out. This kid, he's 20, he's 21, whatever. He's freaking Jesus. He's cut so long, and he's just already a star, man. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this about the match itself, man. I thought he was gonna lose. If you watch the match, you're like, damn, he actually could lose this
Yeah,
match.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, what's gonna happen? Because they can't make him lose. So what the hell's gonna happen? And so I will say that for the storyline for the match writing, I actually believe that he could have lost that match. So that's great writing. But yeah, I'm glad he won, obviously. And this kid's the future. Just like, there's so many, like you said about when we talked about did our Royal Rumble thing, the future is bright, and he's one of the reasons why. So he just needs to keep doing what he's doing.
for sure. Next up, we had Penta beat Bronson Reed by countout. Obviously, there was some shenanigans going on in the match. This whole match, especially once the Vision came out, or once Austin and Logan got involved, I was this whole match. I was like, oh, Bronson's alone in the ring, masked man, and then he just never showed up, right?
Hmm.
But we did get LA Knight showing up, interfering and hitting Bronson and taking out Bronson, so he got counted out. It's nice that LA Knight comes back and he's as over as he ever was, right? He hasn't lost any momentum even after being away for however many months, and he comes back with a hatred for the Vision, as he should. Um, but I think we're just with LA Knight in the Vision, like it's the same stuff that was happening before he left, right? It doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel fresh. It doesn't feel like he has this renewed hatred. It just feels more of the same, at least to me. And to me, that feels kind of boring. And obviously, there's a lot that can happen moving forward. But to me, it just feels like a continuation of the same thing that we saw for months before he left. Thoughts?
I don't have much to add to it. You kind of hit
Yeah,
everything that I was.
Hit the nail on the head, man.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm glad he came back and immediately was put into the spot he belongs, like in terms of being like at the top. But also, like we mentioned before, he doesn't have to have the belt to be successful. But if you want to give him the belt, the way they're doing it now, where he just little by little infiltrates the Vision and then maybe goes on to something bigger after, like we'll see what happens. I am excited to see what they're gonna do with LA Knight because everybody in the IWC is calling for LA Knight to get a belt. I just want to let you know if he gets the belt and you go flat on him, it's your fault, as always. Just like you do with everybody else. Just like you did with Kofi. Just like you did with Daniel Bryan. Just like you did with Drew McIntyre. Just like you did with
hmm
Jey Uso. If you calling for these people to win belts and they finally win the belt, then you're like, he's not as entertaining as I thought he was. It's on you. Stop blaming writing. Stop blaming everyone else. It's your fault.
yeah. The spot we're in with LA Knight right now, it seems like it's just going to be stuck in this, right? Because I don't think they're going to put the belt on him, and then having him, like if he somehow goes over in this feud with any member of the Vision, like what does he do after that? Like, I feel like if he goes after like Dom and the IC title, that's kind of it's not like a step down, but it feels like, he's not in the main event scene anymore then. But like, where does he go after fighting the Vision? He's not going to fight, Punk for the title. And then if Punk loses it and, to Braun before WrestleMania, I mean, I guess Knight could fight Braun at some point on the road to WrestleMania for the title, but I don't think he'd win. So like it just kind of seems like creative has backed themselves in their corner with LA Knight, where he has to be in the main event scene, but and anything less than that isn't worth it. But he's not going to be at the top of the main event scene.
You can't see him in the Elimination Chamber.
That's well, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like that's where he goes next, but it continuing exactly what Nick was saying. Like, it's gonna keep him around that main event scene, but I don't think any of us, even if he is in the Elimination Chamber, we don't know whoever else is in the match yet, but I don't think any of us are
Yeah,
picking him to win it. You know
yeah.
what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like, he's gonna be in there, he's gonna have another opportunity, but he's not gonna win that opportunity.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's just where LA Knight is, right? And like in my opinion, he's not he. They're not really using him. I mean, they're using him to further a story, but he's not really in the story after it gets furthered on, right? So I mean, he's so over and everybody loves him, but where does he go from here? I don't really know. Yeah. And then next up, we had Stephanie Vaquer versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Championship in a Philadelphia street fight. This was an entertaining match. It was not a well performed match from either of them, but especially Raquel. Raquel's been improving a lot over the last, year, but this match, she just really couldn't seem to do anything right. She tried to set the chair up in the corner of the ring. It fell down. She kept trying to throw chairs into the ring, and it bounced off the top rope and hit her. And then the table spot at the end of it, like they didn't get all of that. It was a very messy match, but it was an entertaining match. I mean, it's hard not to have a street fight and it be not entertaining. I really did think that Raquel was going to win. I just thought she was going to win. I thought it made sense for her to win, but she did. Stephanie came out on top. What do y'all think about Stephanie winning
I
or
mean,
in Raquel in their performance?
I definitely think Stephanie winning is obviously the correct choice. Like, she's proven, the fans have proven like how over she is leading up to WrestleMania. I think she's hot enough to be able to carry that title into a match with possibly someone like Liv Morgan, who just won the Royal Rumble. And I do think she's more of the correct choice for Liv Morgan, because Liv Morgan going after someone like Jade and choosing Jade just seems so crazy and out of left field. Like, why would someone of Liv's stature choose to go fight someone like Jade? And I think keeping Raquel right around the situation could be, it could lead us into another situation where, back with like when Rey Mysterio won the Rumble, where they just make it a triple threat because it makes the most sense at WrestleMania. And if we continue to see this divide within the Judgment Day between Raquel and Liv, and obviously Liv came out and got involved again after Raquel told her to stay in the back. So I think we're also creating that divide there, to where if it's another triple threat we get to see at WrestleMania, like, that's going to be the most entertaining avenue we see.
Definitely.
Two quick things to say about it. Number one, I don't ever want to see Stephanie Vaquer in pants again. Ever, ever, ever. No pants. No pants. And number two, they're pushing Raquel to obviously win this belt eventually. And I don't know how the crowd is gonna react to it. I don't know if it's gonna be like, is she gonna get booed? Is she gonna get cheered? Is she gonna get the "you deserve it" chance? Is she gonna get the "well, you're already boring" chance? I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I do feel like she deserves a chance. She's been a monster, honestly. She's, like David said, she's been improving every week. She deserves a chance at the belt. And there are storylines with her, whether it's Liv
Mhm.
or a rematch with Stephanie or triple threat, whatever. Whether it's her versus like Last Legend or something great. Like, there's a lot of storylines that could happen. And I just feel like I hope the crowd doesn't turn on her. Or if they do, then make it like a super heel kind of thing. But yeah,
Right.
no pants for Stephanie. I don't know. She might still be hurt, honestly. Like, Stephanie might actually have that ankle thing and it might be affecting her a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't, obviously I'm not a doctor, I don't know, but yeah, just don't wear pants.
They've been teasing Judgment Day breaking up for so long, like for at least a year now, right? It finally feels like we're going actually towards that and heading towards the Judgment Day splitting up, which I think is great for really every member of the Judgment Day, but especially Finn. Very excited for that. But like I said, I think it feels like we're finally just heading towards an actual Judgment Day split, and I'm looking forward to it. What else did you want to add?
No, I know that. So Raquel versus Stephanie was technically our main event of the night, as the final segment of the show was some promo work. So I do want to hit on two things really quick before, so that we don't just feel like we missed them completely. Obviously, Gunther trolling everybody coming out as AJ Styles music and everything, and then the
Yeah,
interaction between him and Dragon Lee. Like, that's not going to be a career killer instance, I don't believe. But it was still really crazy to see him just choke out Dragon Lee while his feet are dangling off the apron. Like, that was
yeah,
pretty intense. And then obviously before Bronson versus Penta, we had Oba come out and just even Michael Cole and Corey Graves were booking it as, okay, here's a tag team match coming up, and Oba's music hits, and you look at
mhm,
two big dudes like the War Raiders in the ring, and it's like Oba just made them look like cruiserweights. I mean, they look
yeah,
like local talents. They were just absolutely destroyed. And of course, it's not going to make Oba look the strongest. They do this with guys all the time. Having it be two big guys like that at least really made Oba look a little better for his initial
yeah,
appearance on Monday Night Raw.
for sure. I mean, he was throwing Eric around like it was nothing, and Eric is
Yeah.
a big
The
dude.
pop up power
Like,
bomb was crazy.
yeah, it's crazy, right? And I'm sure we'll see a similar something similar to this on SmackDown this
Yeah.
week with Oba. And I think Oba ends up on SmackDown, which is probably where he needs to be. Uh, but it's seeing Oba like that is great.
Yeah.
All right, and then moving on to the main event, we had Roman come out after winning the Rumble. He does his promo and then gets interrupted by Punk, and then they have a back and forth. And Roman officially chooses Punk as who he's gonna go after. I thought this cooked, and I am so this promo got me so excited for the build up to WrestleMania between these two. Like I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was amazing, and I'm very excited. The promo was great on both ends. It's just like I loved every second of their interaction, and like I said, I think the build up to WrestleMania is going to be great, and I think the match is going to be great. And I honestly don't know who's going to win. I think Roman probably will, but I mean, there's a lot that could change between now and then.
I think I really just like I want to hit on how personal it felt to get. I mean, immediately from night one, like this is their first time interacting after Roman wins the Rumble, and he's choosing him, and right away their promo battle. I mean, they were out there for 20 minutes. It felt like, and they
Hmm.
would just, I mean, from Roman calm to Phil to talking about leaving the company and bringing him back, and talking to Roman when Punk came back, and all this stuff. I mean, bringing up the Shield and everything. I mean, just from square one, it just felt personal. It felt real, and a lot of fans know the stories of the discomfort between them, if that's what we want to call it, to put it nicely. And it's gonna feel like a really real emotional build, I think, leading up to WrestleMania. Which, if it's not going to be as big as a WrestleMania 40 build or something like that, like at least if our main event it's going to be Roman and CM Punk, they're going to make people as invested in it, whichever side they're on, as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, like it just like you said, it just felt so personal. Punk's line of "You might have did it longer, but doesn't mean you did it better," and then Roman finishing it out with "I'm choosing you because I hate you." Like, it just felt so real and raw. What do you think, Glenn? I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about Roman.
I got a lot of thoughts about the whole damn thing. First of all, when Punk said just because you did it longer doesn't mean you did it better than he did, bull crap. Because Roman Reigns did do it better than he
Yeah,
did it. That's number
yeah,
one. Number two, it brought back memories of when Cena cooked Roman Reigns on the mic when they were trying to build up for a really big event, and it was like Roman wasn't ready to be on the mic at that point, and Cena cooked him,
Hmm.
absolutely destroyed him.
hmm
Now Roman's ready. Roman's like, I'm gonna go toe to toe and prove to you that I can do it on the mic with the best. And he's doing it with CM Punk now, and that's great that he was ready to rock. Also, the fact that this is gonna be the main event, and it's gonna be CM Punk's actual main event, because the last time he was in the main event of WrestleMania on a day one or something, technically wasn't the main event. This is
is the
Punk's
main event.
moment. This is gonna be the main event versus Roman Reigns. Unfortunately for him, I think he's gonna lose, but nonetheless, this is gonna be his moment, and the build up is gonna be insane. The promo is gonna be insane. I just hope the match is as good as the promo. I don't even know if it can be, but just be good enough. That's all we need. Just be good enough. I don't want a Gunther versus Punk at SummerSlam type match. I can't do it again. So I need Punk to be great. I need Roman to be great. It can't just be woosah punch. That's it. Nothing else happens the whole match except chanting from the crowd. We need a match. And I'm excited to see what they're gonna do because they have to step up. It is the main event of WrestleMania in Las Vegas. It's got to be great. It should be great. I'm excited for it. One last thing about that though, like you said, it feels personal. It's personal for Roman. Because, like I said, he's been out of the picture for a while now in terms of being in the championship spotlight, in terms of actually having a legit chance of having that belt. And he was talking with the bloodline before that, like I said, with Cena and stuff like that. He wasn't ready when he was getting booed. He needs to prove that he can do it himself, have the belt himself. This is all on Roman. CM Punk doesn't really have anything to lose. If he loses, he still puts on the same kind of matches, fights the same kind of people. If Roman loses this, he might leave. He might. This is it for Roman. I feel like if he doesn't win this, I don't know what he does next. Now you can put Roman in anything, but it won't feel the same anymore because he's no longer that monster that was in the bloodline. Now he's just Roman Reigns and nothing else, and we can't have that. So you got to give him the belt. This has to be good, and he's got to prove that the bloodline thing wasn't just a fluke because they had no choice. Roman has to prove that he was the champ because he was one of the greatest of all time, and that's what this is gonna do.
Yep, I agree. One thing I just want to touch on, like, just already on this road to WrestleMania, I think we're going to have such a better build up to WrestleMania than we did last year. Last year was all about Cena and Cody and Cena turning and all of that. This year, on both shows, I think there's really compelling storylines that'll lead us into Mania and have really compelling matches and finishes of stories at Mania on both shows. Whereas we had that one storyline last year that we really cared about, and then obviously like Punk, Roman, and Seth. But other than those two, nothing really grabbed us on the way to WrestleMania. And I think we're set up for some really interesting and compelling things on the way build up to WrestleMania this year, rather than just focusing on one or two major storylines. But yeah, so that's our Raw and Smackdown recap. We'll be doing this every week just to go over the weekly shows. Make sure you like and subscribe, share us, and then follow us on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook at Triple Threat Analysis.